Well, we are live, and we are going to see a football game tonight. Live, fellas. All right, so we are looking live at SoFi Stadium in Los Angeles as the Denver Broncos have traveled halfway across the country to take on the Los Angeles Chargers. Big game in the AFC playoff picture tonight. We'll get to more of that as we go along. Let me just double check on couple things. Number one, looks like we are indeed live. I've got a full screen. I'm added. I think everything is good. I do need to put this out there. I don't think I gave that link. Let's see. USFFL broadcast, SoFi Stadium, send, and there we are. Everybody can come on in. Let's get back to StreamYard in case anybody joins. I want to try to keep an eye on that. So, first drive of this football game, and the visitors take first possession. Broncos from their own 25. And they're going to open the game on a screen pass to tailback Melvin Gordon. Drew Lock on his card finds an empty spot, and it's an incomplete pass, but a dead ball penalty, wipe it away. Play never happened. It's a 5-yard mark off, and the Broncos will go back to a 1st and 15 at their own 20. The Broncos come into this game already eliminated from the USFFL playoffs. However, a win in the game tonight would put the Broncos officially into the USFFL COY tournament, the Coach of the Year tournament at the end of this season. So he definitely has something to play for here. And on 1st and 15, it's Melvin Gordon again, but it's a pitch out around the end and a 6-yard pickup, beating the defensive end for the Chargers. And I might mention, it's a good time to bring up that the defensive end that they beat there should have been the 6-rated Joey Bosa, but he is out of this game. So that's what caused that 6 yards. And worse yet, Bosa as an 8 blitzer is the best the Chargers typically have. And he will not be suiting up for this one. So that's a big injury. Here's a pitch out on 2nd and 9. And Melvin Gordon's going to lose a yard. So a big 3rd down coming up. 3rd and 10 for the Broncos. Also injured in this game for the Chargers is their offensive right guard, Trey Turner. That could be significant. He blocks the 2nd high linebacker in the passing game. And because the Broncos have a pair of 11 rated blitzers, that has to be a point of concern for Coach Tangora. 3 wide receiver set up now on 3rd and 10 for the Broncos. And back to pass. Locke is looking for Tim Patrick on his card. It is incomplete. Drew Lock, not the best card. And on a 6, he doesn't get it. So 3 and out. And the Broncos are punting away right away from their own 25. And that's a nice punt, 48-yarder. 6 yards on the roll, and the Chargers will get their first possession from their own 21-yard line. These two teams met earlier this year, and it was the Chargers that came out on top by a 41-22 score. 3 wide receiver formation. We'll see a lot of that today from the Chargers. They like to throw with their young stud quarterback. 3-4 defense for the Broncos. And here's an off tackle. They're going to run on the first play. Kalen Ballage running to the left side. And that's a good roll. That goes to the defensive card, and it's a short gain for Kalen Ballage. So right off the bat, first play, a 14-yard run, and the Chargers move the chains. 1st and 10 at their own 35. Chargers will take any run offense they can get. When you're looking at an offensive line, they've got 4 run blockers that are 0s and another that's a 4. So their running backs aren't going to get a lot of help. They've got to earn the yardage the old-fashioned way. Do it. You want something done right, they got to do it themselves. Defense guessing run on this play, but it's a sideline pass. Tyron Johnson is the target. Justin Herbert on wrong, hits the short gain on a 3. So that's going to be another good gainer. 13 yards up close to the midfield stripe. That's going to be a first down at their 48-yard line. So back-to-back plays on the Chargers' first drive. And he opens with a pair of first downs, and he's already up near midfield. We mentioned the Broncos clinch a spot in the Coach of the Year tournament. The Chargers clinch their USFFL playoff ticket if they can win this game. And here's a little button hook pass over the middle. Kalen Ballage, the target again. And Justin Herbert looks like he's got a yak opportunity, and Ballage is going to capitalize on that one. Nice pickup again. Total of 13 yards on that play. First and 10 at the Denver 39, and boy, unless I'm mistaken, forget third down, the Chargers are yet to see second down in this contest. 3 plays and 3 short gainers. Now on the fringe of field goal range, 3 wide receivers, 2 running backs. Ballage is still in there. We mentioned the Chargers' injuries. A receiver is also out of this game for the Broncos. And on first and 10, here's a sideline pass. Tyron Johnson is the target. And on the defensive card, nothing doing. Incomplete on a 4. Both of these teams actually have a very impressive defensive card. And looks like we've got somebody here with us. JT, how you doing? That's Mr. Trower. By the way, you're on mute, so I can't hear you.
I didn't figure you wanted me to just come in and start rambling, so I muted myself.
Let's make sure all my volumes are up. There you go. Jason, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you perfectly. It was just my volume down and your mute button on, so we both had to move past the stupid idiot stick, and we're ready to watch some football here.
I was interested hearing all those injuries. It sounds like
yeah,
like this is kind of who's of bench players today.
Yeah, it's not too many as far as the quantity of injuries, but certainly I think that the Chargers' injuries are pretty key.
Mm-hmm.
Joey Bosa, the 6th-rated defensive end, plus you're losing your best blitzer, and then his right guard, his pass blocking goes from a 5 to a 2, and that's matching up against a second-high linebacker. Broncos happen to have a pair of 11s that can blitz, so that's a danger point for them as well. And on third down,
I think a big thing with Bosa is he stops the run. I think a big thing with Bosa is, though, he stops the run, too.
Yes.
So, yeah, he's a very good pass rusher, but he can also stop that outside run pretty good, too.
And very first play on this game was an end run right at him, and he would have stopped it for -1. His backup allowed 6 yards. So,
yeah,
those things have a way of rearing their ugly head. We've got a 4th down, and he's going to try to convert this. So, the Chargers on their opening drive have moved the ball quickly, but they've stalled a little bit here. 4th and 7 at the Denver 36. And so the Chargers have decided to forego a field goal attempt that is a 2 through 5 in this range. And he's going to go for this 4th and 7. He's got 3 wide receivers split out, Mike Williams in the slot, and the Broncos are going to set up in the dime and show blitz.
Not really a bad decision to go for it at this point. You're kind of, in between right there. So
that, and I can tell you from him being in my division and playing him once already this year, and plus in a practice game or two, he's one of the coaches that's just aggressive. He has that philosophy. The Packers are the same way. They went 5 for 5 on 4th down last night, and three of those for the Packers were inside their own 35. So some teams are just more bold than others, and I'm just not one of those teams. So 4th and 7, we've got a slant pass. Hunter Henry's the target. He is not double teamed, but that falls incomplete. It went to the defensive card, and both of these teams have a pretty good defense on short pass. And so on a 6, that's incompletion. The Broncos take over, and they'll take over at their own 36 and start their second drive of this game.
That was a pretty good call. I honestly think I might have tried a screenplay or something to the back, because your back's really good out of the backfield.
Yeah, and
but the
thing that's nice about
too.
that, if you go to the back, the outside linebackers, if he blitzes them, then no one's covering that back too. So that's something to consider.
And backs have more ability to move around than, say, a wide receiver. They can make more happen. So
yeah, generally speaking, depending on your stable of receivers, they're going to have the better featured yak ratings. Broncos' first play was a 1-yard run.
7 yards.
Broncos are 2nd and 9 at their own 37. For those who haven't necessarily been introduced or met the person that we are talking to, this is Jason Trower, not a full member of the active league. He's one of our waitlist guys and actually made it to the Owls tournament championship and came up just a little bit short against the Rams. Right, Jason?
Yeah, pretty much I blew it in the last 3 minutes.
Yeah. Oh, it looks like I came off full screen again. I wasn't aware of that. I'll leave you on here for a little bit, but pretty soon we'll go back to in a little bit. We'll go back to full screen so that people can see the full game. Just kind of wanted to give them a chance to kind of get to know you a little bit. The Broncos are now up near midfield, 1st and 10 at their own 46. And they're going to do a pitch out. Melvin Gordon, he hits the number on the defensive card, and that's a short gain. Ooh. 16 yards and a first down. There is some laundry on the field, and that's going to be coming back. The Broncos flag for holding, mark off 10 yards, and they're back to their 36, 1st and 20.
That's
tougher to come back from a 1st and 20 when your quarterback's Drew Lock.
Yeah, that's probably the worst thing on this game is when you get that holding penalty. I mean, it's just like real life. You could probably call it on every
hole
play,
to dig out of. Yeah, it changes the entire calculation. There's a flat pass to Noah Fan, incomplete. It was actually 0 men on the defensive card, but result of receiver to the benefit of the Chargers ends up in an incompletion. And so if you thought 1st and 20 was long, 2nd and 20 is now staring at the Broncos.
Yeah, and the Broncos don't really have the receiving core or the manpower probably to even come up with that.
And here's a pitch out on 2nd and 20 and just a 3-yard gain. So, boy, 2nd and 20, you're going to hit that running back. You sure want it on his card on wrong. But they got the defensive card. And a nice stop by the Chargers defense sets up a very difficult 3rd and 17.
I like that call, though. I think the defense just outcoached him on that.
Well, I don't know about on 2nd and 20, I think most people are going to call pass on defense, right? I think that you're running there because you expect to get it on wrong, and you can get a big gainer if you get that to your card. But unfortunately, 50% chance it goes to the defensive card where they don't care whether the defense was guessing pass or not.
It seems like majority of the time people do go for a run on 2nd and 20. They're trying to shorten that 3rd down. But like you said, it's a passing down. I mean,
and a lot of that, some of that variable is who's your quarterback, what kind of blitz are you facing, how do your blockers fare? So there's a lot of variables into that too.
Yeah, Drew Lock's this guy's never panned out to what he's supposed to be, I guess.
Not really.
He's had big hopes for him.
And here's a flat pass. It's going to be just a 6-yard gain, not enough on that completion to pair him. And so we've got a 4th and 11, and the Broncos are forced to punt. And
it's a good field position move, though, for the punt.
Yeah, that's going to go down, and it's going to roll, but all the way into the end zone. So it was a nice punt that would have been down, inside the 10 somewhere, but a big 11-yard roll carries it too far, and the Chargers will set up shop at their 20. I mentioned early.
If you pinned him.
Yeah, I mentioned early in this game the Broncos can clinch a berth in the Coach of the Year tournament if they win this, and the Chargers can clinch a playoff berth if they win this. So both of them angling for a postseason berth today.
Oh, wow. So a lot on the line, even though it's just kind of a random Chargers-Denver game, huh?
Well, and that's just those two teams. It goes even deeper than that. If the Chargers win, it eliminates both the Bills and the Dolphins. If the Chargers lose, there's a team that's going to clinch the AFC Western Division Championship, a certain team in red and yellow.
Oh, so you're dependent upon this game to get in the playoffs, huh?
So, well, no, I've already clinched my playoff berth, but the Chiefs win the division if the Chargers lose this game. If the Chargers win this game, then the Chargers face the Chiefs in the last game of the season, and that will be for the division title.
I did see that. Who was it that only has like one loss that played the other day?
Well, there's two teams now. The Seahawks were 14-0 and the Packers 13-1. But the Seahawks finally got beat. Packers ended up winning last night, so both teams are 14-1.
Yeah, I missed that one. I really wanted to jump on and see that game when I saw the records. It was
a good game. It was a good game for sure.
You
2nd and 5 for the Chargers.
Games, though, I've been trying to jump on one every now and then, but
normally I like to broadcast maybe 1 to 2 a week, but this is different. Now we're in week 15 time. There's so many games that have so much on the line, and this is when I'm going to go ahead and try to clear as much of my schedule and put these out
Yeah,
there for people to get involved with if they want.
the tiebreaker thing you put out the other day, heck, it gave me a headache just reading through it.
Yeah,
I
that's
was
just
like,
reading
wow, that's
through
good.
it.
But it's really cool that you have this many teams in it and this many coaches, and you still have that many in it in week 15. I mean,
Yeah,
that's really cool. It really makes it enjoyable for all of us in it. I mean, if I was getting beat, I wouldn't care. I enjoy it anyways.
yeah,
but
yeah.
it's
I would.
fun when you have something on the line.
No doubt about it. I've obviously with having Mahomes been to the playoffs, and yeah, as Strata goes, there's not a feeling like it. I can tell you from experience when I'm in, especially regular games, but especially playoff games, my hands go ice cold, and I don't know. I think that's I don't know if that's adrenaline or what happens, but as soon as the nerves start going up on a tight game, I can feel them. I wear gloves. I literally wear my Chiefs
It's the
gloves because
ice
my
water
hands
in
are.
your veins,
I
huh?
guess. I guess. First and 10 Chargers now across midfield at the Denver 48 on their second drive. We're still scoreless here in the first quarter with 4:30 to go.
Yeah, this is definitely a field position battle right now. They just can't get much past the midsection. It seems like.
There's still plenty of time, and I have a lot of faith in Justin Herbert to start turning things on here
Yeah.
soon. We'll see. It's a square in pass against a run defense. And to the league's leading receiver, Keenan Allen has it for a completion of 9 yards. Keenan Allen with his 133rd reception of the season to lead the USFFL.
Wow. Keenan Allen is the James Conner of your league, it sounds like.
Well, that's a receiver that catches a lot of balls in real
Mm-hmm.
life and in replay. So 2nd and 1 at the 39 of Denver. Broncos with their second time approaching that field goal fringe. And we're going to get another play call just like the last one. Square in pass. Keenan Allen. Defense gets his pass, but the zone has been vacated for a blitz. We've got
Oh,
a yak opportunity, and Keenan Allen knows what to do with that.
big
13
play.
yards and a first down. Keenan Allen converts. He's down to the 27-yard line. Allen just a C-rated yak rating, but on a roll of 11, he capitalized, and it's 1st and 10 at the Denver 27.
Everybody likes the you got mossed, but man, I would much rather have a possession receiver like that you can get
Oh, I would
7,
too.
8, 10 yards out of every time, and he's going to catch it. I mean, come on.
Yes, I love those. Keenan Allen, I'm not a big fan because he's a Charger, but I sure like what he does. Here's a deep ball to Mike Williams and incomplete. Justin Herbert on his
Oh,
card found an empty spot. So Anthony Tangora dials up the deep ball, comes up empty-handed, and it's 2nd down and 10.
one thing I like watching in this too is other quarterbacks play because I've noticed that using the Steelers in my league, Roethlisberger's flush card actually isn't bad. When people flush me out of the pocket, I actually get excited because Roethlisberger throws, and I see that these cards are not that good normally when quarterbacks don't.
Do you mean so usually on a flush, I think it just go to the quarterback card. It goes to the quarterback card or the flat pass 0 min typically, I thought, on a flush.
Yeah, I always complete big passes with Roethlisberger. He's always got I think there's one long gain on there.
I've noticed on the flush a high propensity. It goes to the defensive card and ends up with 0 min, and so yeah, I think that you've got a higher propensity to convert something there. Speaking of converting, we've got a 3rd down opportunity here for the Chargers. Let's dial in on that. 3rd and 13 at the Denver 30. So from here, that field goal attempt would be a 2 through 7 and 12. He's going to throw, and it's going to be a long pass to Jalen Guyton, but flushed out of the pocket, looking for another target now. Justin Herbert finds one, and he's got
Didn't
that
get
ball 9 yards down to the 21. Nice catch on that play by Tyron Johnson.
That makes it an easier field goal, though, doesn't it?
It does, but I don't necessarily trust the Chargers, but they will. Sometimes they'll go for it. I know he's bold, but he's going to kick this one, folks. 4th and 4 at the 21. From here, it is a 2 through 10 unless he loses something on the variable, and he does not. That's a good field goal by Michael Badgley, and the Chargers on the board first here at home, up 3-0 on the Broncos.
It's nice to see somebody finally got on the board because they've been at least in the area, but
there's all kinds of games I think, well, this is shaping up to be a defensive struggle. And next thing you know, it's 24-24, and there's still a quarter left. So things can happen quickly.
Were you questioning that long pass too, though? Because I mean,
What do you mean
I was thinking
questioning?
you probably. Well, when
Oh,
you
the
said he came
call?
out and was
Heck no.
throwing long, I was thinking maybe go short like he did when he dropped it off to get a better field goal position.
No, so everybody's got it. First of all, that's gonna to me that's less of certainly the different skill sets of your team feed into that. Lots of variables, but there's also the coach feel on that. By the way, let's stop here.
Mm.
Deep ball to Jerry Judy throwing into a nickel defense, flushed out of the pocket. Drew Lock looking for his second target, and he's going to get a nice completion on that one.
Nice.
10 yards and a first down, just what he needs to convert as Noah Fant gets his first catch, and the Broncos are out near midfield at the 49. Yeah, so like on that long pass, I mean, I can just tell you, and I hate to out myself, especially on the eve of the playoffs, but I think most people that play me know that if I get down inside the 40, I like throwing long. Even down at the 22, 23. And the reason is I get inside the 20. Now you've got an extra safety to start fucking around with me. I get inside the 10, and those linebackers don't have to, they can come up to blitz, and it doesn't even hurt if there's no flat pass zone. So as
I was
I'm getting
about to
closer,
say someone's about to break one here soon. I just feel the momentum. Someone's about to break something big right now.
and feel free to
And he
call it.
did.
I missed it. That's a 34-yard run. Philip Lindsay on his first carry, all the way
Wow,
into the
Philip
red zone.
Lindsay.
All the way into the red zone. 1st and 10 at the 17. Broncos traveling to the red zone for the first time in this game.
Man, if they could punch it in here, the way the offense has been going, that could
There's
be a
an
big
incomplete
7.
on a second down pass, but pass interference by the Chargers
Oh,
sets up the Broncos on the doorstep of the goal line, 1st and goal at the 3. That, by the way, ends the first quarter of this one. Chargers in the first quarter up 3-0 here at home, but the Broncos are knocking on the doorstep, 1st and goal at the 3. Chargers showing blitz out of a 4-3, guessing run on defense, but it's a short pass to Noah Fant,
no.
incomplete. The
Whew,
Chargers
that was
rolled the
close.
interception split roll. And fortunately for Coach Kukafka, David Kukafka, coach of the Broncos, he missed that interception and gets a new life, 2nd and goal at 3.
That
Nothing
would have
worse
been
than throwing
huge.
for an interception down there.
Yeah.
That happened to the Titans in their game last night.
Oh, did it?
Yep, an interception in the end zone.
That's probably the worst thing in football is that interception inside the red zone. God, horrible.
And on 2nd and goal on the 3, a nice call by Coach Tangora defensively as he keys Gordon. And with it going to that offensively running back card that took advantage of that key fully, and a 2-yard loss sets up a 3rd and goal here at the 5. So this is kind of what I was talking about here, your 3rd and goal, and you could try to run it, but the linebackers get a free spot on the line. There's no flat pass to choose, so that means they're also on the line for a blitz. Just tougher to score once you get down here, and that's why I know I'm never shy about throwing long as I approach the end zone.
Yeah, because like you said, that safety moves around, and depending on what team you have, I mean, I got Mika Fitzpatrick on the Steelers. He's fun to play with.
I got Honey Badger, and that works out okay for me too. So
yeah, I know playing you a lot. I have to worry about him all the time. Drives me nuts.
And I like to use the 4-2-5 that we see the defense setting up here for the Chargers right now. And the reason I do is if you go to the 4-2-5 instead of 3-3-5, I keep the 2 tackles on the field that are 6 rated against the run, as opposed to one of them staying in at a 5 rate.
I think he's going to punch it in here. I think something big's going to happen on this
3rd and goal at the 5. This is the Broncos. Yeah, let's see. I don't know. I might run it. I see a lot of those zeros along the line there, and I might.
That's what I was thinking.
Pitch out
he moved
around
another
the
one out
end.
there.
Royce Freeman, man after our own heart, defensive end, -1 or +6, and he runs right through Bosa's replacement and into the end zone. 2nd time in this game that Bosa has been missed, and the Broncos are the first one to taste the sweet nectar of the end zone. That's a line right out of Chiefs broadcasting lore, by the way. Mitch Holthus, so the Chiefs likes to call it that way.
I would think I'd want to attack Bosa. I mean,
well, he's
obviously had some. I mean, yeah, he's had some success running. He needs to just stay with it now and go with it. He did it the first play, and then he's done it then, and he had the 39-yard run. I don't think that was Bosa's side, though, if I remember right. But still, he's had success running.
All right, I'm just making sure we still have. I'm going to go ahead and I almost forgot. Let's do that now. I want to switch to full screen so that people can kind of see the full action now. I meant to get back to that earlier. Sorry about that for anybody who was curious. 1st and 10. Chargers at their own 25 now, trailing 7-3 in this game. And there's an off-tackle run. Kalen Ballage has hit another number on that defensive card. That's a pickup of 17 yards and a first down out to the 42-yard line. Ballage, 3 carries at a 12-yard average already in this game.
Yeah, not bad with a 12-yard average. That's the thing. Both these teams have had success running. I don't understand why they're
at the same
throwing so
time,
much.
you say that, but Justin Herbert is one of the top quarterbacks in
Yeah.
the USFFL. He is second to Mahomes in touchdown passes. He is, I think, first or second in total passing yards. It's not just Keenan Allen and his 132 receptions. Speak of the devil. That was a throw to Keenan Allen, and the defender needed to be a 4 only for that white dice, and he was able to force the incompletion. So second and 10 now for the Chargers, who, getting back to my point, also have Mike Williams at receiver, who's second in the league with an 18.3 per reception average. So he's got real good targets, and of course Austin Eckler out of the backfield. Speaking of which, he's deep in the eye right now, but he's got is it A? Yeah, it's an A-rated yak rating. So there's just the weapons and the quarterback here, and also when you're thinking about running as the Chargers, look at that offensive line. You see 0s and 4s there, but that's for the run game. These are good pass blockers. So this team passes as much as any team in the league, and I can't blame them one bit. Here's a flushed out of the pocket looking for another target, and we've got a nice completion of 23 yards. I don't have to tell you that went to the defensive card on a 10. Those of you that played this a long time. So Justin Herbert is now into field goal fringe territory for a third time in this game. He's now 9 of 13 and goes over 100 yards passing. We're at the 12-18 mark of the second quarter. Broncos on top 7-3. Kalen Ballage in the deep eye now. Herbert under center. Defense guessing run, but it's a short pass, and Herbert finds Tyron Johnson, and that's another first down. 14 yards on that one. And that passing game of the Chargers is starting to churn and burn. They can put up points in a hurry. I've seen that firsthand this year. I barely escaped the Chargers way back in about week 2 or 3, 34-31 in overtime. Not
Chargers
the kind of
can
game
be
you
a
forget.
scary team.
Yes, they can.
They have so many weapons.
Yeah, they do. And now they've got, a quarterback. Not that I have a lot of disrespect for Phillip Rivers, but Justin Herbert's on a different level, in my opinion.
Yeah, Phillip Rivers, great talent. Just I don't think he was a great leader.
And he didn't seem that clutch. I mean, there's a certain amount of clutch that it's tough to be as successful and win as many games as he does and never make it to a Super Bowl. Never really put together any kind of a big playoff run. I don't think he ever won more than one game in a playoff run. Maybe I'm wrong, but
he's the only one from that draft class that hasn't.
Let's go ahead and call out a big injury in this game. I know that right now, Coach Tangora very disappointed to see that he's lost his big play receiver, Mike Williams, and more importantly, he's out next week as well. I'm sure that Anthony's pleased he'll be back for the playoffs if he gets there, but I know that, especially if he's winning this game and wanting to fight against the Chiefs for the division title next week, having Mike Williams out, definitely not what he's wanting to see.
And what's that going to do to Keenan Allen now, though? Doesn't that move Keenan Allen like into the 1 slot almost? And
well, Keenan Allen it just means that Keenan Allen with 132 receptions, who already was going to be, somebody the defense is going to focus on, is probably even more in focus. But at the same time, Jalen Guyton, 18.3 per catch, just like Mike Williams. He's a good deep ball threat, and Hunter Henry and Austin Eckler. This guy's got plenty of weapons even without Mike Williams. So I refuse to get too excited. There's a little dump pass over the middle. Touchdown. Nice pass play to the backup tailback, Justin Jackson, as he gets the receiver result and on wrong goes for 16 into the end zone.
Well, we went from nothing happening to now we've had 14 points scored in the second quarter.
That's right. I believe I said it'll happen fast when it starts coming. Chargers got the extra point from Badgley, and they take the 10-7 lead here. 10:30 to go in the second quarter. 10-7 over the Broncos.
These coaches are really coaching right now, though, because you can tell the changes they're making, and there's a lot going on behind the plays that we don't even see. But
Well, yeah, and then the other thing is it's a division matchup, and so
yeah,
you play these guys twice a year. Maybe you've also been in the division for a while. In this case, I think it's Anthony's first year in this division, so these two guys are probably meeting for the second time at least with these two teams. But Anthony's been around for a while, and I think David's been here for a few years, so they've probably met before as well. There's a quick out to
so
Noah Fant for 8 yards, and it's 3rd and 2 for the Broncos.
So outside the game, do most coaches have the team that they prefer, like that they like
Yeah,
you, or do most coaches switch around, bounce around?
so that's a good question. So I would say it's a very strong blend, and I can't really cite you all of the guys that are never going to move. It's funny you bring this up because I've been thinking about doing a poll in Slack at some point that just allows people to kind of pick a choice that says the team I have, I'm never leaving, or the team I have, I can't wait to get rid of, or the team I have, I'm open to, depending on if this or the, you know what I mean, and kind of see where people are at. But I know, for example, Scott Kaplan, since the league has been here, has been with the Giants. Paul Conti, all my years has been with the Raiders. I could go on and on. Harlan and the Cowboys, Bruce and the Eagles. Although I guess Bruce had, I think the Texans earlier than I was here, but he's been with the Eagles for a long. So as far as
We played the Cowboys in the Super Bowl, didn't you?
yes, just last year, as a matter of fact.
Yeah,
So
I remember watching that broadcast, and I remember somebody said something about he had been a coach for a long time with the
oh yeah,
Cowboys.
yeah. Harlan's been here, I think since the beginning or second year or something like that. And but your real question was who's playing the team that they really love. It's their favorite team, and I hear about that from time to time. And it's not just the good teams. There was a broadcast earlier this year
Mhm.
where Donnie Hastings, who's playing the winless Jets, was kind of talking about how the Jets are important to him and
Yeah,
how passion he has for the Jets. And he's not the only one. If I had to guess, I would tell you that at least half this league is either sitting on the team they want or on a team they're real comfortable with and don't really plan on leaving anytime soon. But that still leaves half the league that likes to churn and look for new opportunities. And that's how people move up the list and be able to kind of claim a team as they come open.
yeah. I mean, see, I love the Steelers, and obviously, I'm sitting in my Cubs room, so I'm a fanatic about my teams. But I would just playing this game is so much like actually coaching a game. It's not. It's way different than playing like Madden or
That's right.
Tecmo Bowl or anything. And I think you can get that out of any team you play with. So
Yeah, so for those who don't know, Jason's discovering what many of us discovered about 4 decades ago, the magic that is Stratomatic football. Jason's only played a few games now, and but obviously has developed a taste for it, which is awesome.
I will tell you though, I had a Baseball Digest subscription when I was like 8, so I saw the Stratomatic ads all the time, and it always intrigued me.
I'm going to
But
jump in
never
here.
heard about it until
Oh,
you
it's
said something.
amazing. Love this game. I've got a injury again here to the Chargers, Kalen
Oh man.
Balaj, and I think he's
Oh,
out for the game. So let's take a look. Yes, he'll be available next week. Boy, in that game
but man, he
against
was
the
averaging
Chiefs.
11 a carry.
Well, but that's not really who he is, right? But
Well, I mean, but this game he is.
yeah, this game, that's true. He still has Austin Eckler. He still has Justin
Mm,
Jackson. And really, I think that those are probably the main two backs for him. So he might have been running Balaj to kind of, spread it out, save some of the judiciously use your carries. 2nd and 2 for
it's
the
weird how
Chargers at
football
their own
went from
16.
running back
Huh?
from being so running back. It's weird how football went from being so running back heavy towards the late 90s and early 2000s.
Yeah.
Now it's like wide receivers. I mean,
Well,
running backs are a dime a dozen
I don't know that
almost.
it's weird. It's by design. I mean, that's how the
Yeah.
NFL has shifted all their rules is to do that. And, we've talked about on some of these broadcasts how that's resulted in a real shift in how people play Stratomatic. It's
Hmm.
changed everything. The cards look differently and you have to adapt differently.
It makes you want to pass a lot. I mean, it really does because you have so many home runs on those pass cards. It seems like sometimes.
Yep.
But
Chargers
you know
facing
me,
a
I run.
3rd and 2 here at their 16-yard line.
I just need a team with a running game. That's what I need.
Yeah, I would like a running game, but I can't complain about that sitting on Mahomes. So 4th and 2,
Yeah.
they did not get the first down. Justin Jackson failed. He had the run on wrong, but it hit the 5 on his card. The second, the only one of only 2 places on that card that the Chargers would not have converted for a first down. So you can imagine what Coach Tangor is thinking there, and he's got to punt it away from his own 16. And the Broncos are going to field that punt. Deontay Spencer has a nice return across midfield, and he's going to take that down to the 42 of Los Angeles. So real good field position here with 6 minutes to go before halftime. Broncos are down by 3,
stop.
but they're right on the fringe of field goal range, and I think they've got a good long kicker too. Brandon McManus gets 1 yard closer, and he's 2 through 8.
Oh, wow.
That's right.
That's deep, too.
From 59 yards. From 58 yards. Let's not get crazy. From 58 yards, Brandon McManus.
Now, does that take into consideration that he plays in Denver on the Cards or no?
My answer to that would be, it takes into consideration what he actually did that year, and I'm sure what he did that year was boosted by the fact that he was in the thin air of Denver. So, I mean, sure, I'm sure it plays a role. Here's an inside run on 2nd and 4, and exactly 4 yards on that play for Philip Lindsay. So first down, move the chains, and the Broncos set up again, 1st and 10 at the 32-yard line.
Lindsay's having a pretty good game too, 3 for 44.
That's right.
Of course, he had 1 for 39 or whatever earlier, but still.
The problem is that they can't. The Broncos have trouble competing in the passing game, where Drew Lock is 5 of 12 for 45 yards, and Justin Herbert's 11 of 15 for well over 100. And there's a quick out to Noah Fant. That's a 9-yard gain. Drew Lock found a good number on his card on wrong. Caught the defense guessing run. And it's 2nd and 1 now at the 23-yard line.
Big play here.
And I don't care who the matchup is, how much better your team is, or how much worse your team is. It's just like the real NFL. Anybody can win on any given day. The Jets are 0-14, and I had no business beating them. No business.
Well, look at Rudy. He started out getting stomped by 2 of us, and then came back the third week when he played me again, and he beat me pretty soundly.
Every game is different, and I've long since passed the point of feeling real confident against anybody. You just do the best you can and let your hair catch fire as you try to make your way into some points.
Well, look, I beat Sean 39-9 or something like that the first week, and then the next 2 barn burners we played.
And there's a little short run, just 2 yards on that one for Philip Lindsay, and that's going to set up a 2nd and 8, but it is into the red zone now, so the free safety is truly free for the Chargers, which, interesting point about that safety, Nasir Adderley. I noticed before the game, Nasir Adderley is among the league leaders with 9 sacks, and unless I'm mistaken, he's the only free safety on that list of the top 10 sackers in this league. So, though I don't have any research to indicate that the Chargers are blitzing their safety more than other teams, 9 sacks by Adderley tells me that maybe they are. They're blitzing him here, but the pass is complete to Tim Patrick, and that's going to be a 1st and goal down to the 4-yard line, a 15-yard completion from Locke to Patrick, and the Broncos are in business on that doorstep now. 2:24 to go before halftime.
With my free safety,
I don't get too many because I don't blitz him too often.
Yeah, I don't either.
Are you aware? I don't know if you're aware. You see on that card there, receiver with that little 0 beside it. That's a free long gain if they've safety blitzed you.
Oh, I've never seen that card. Is that not on ours?
No, it's on every team. This is one of those universal. I'll come back to that after this play, but that's one of those universal places on the card that is the same on every team. Short pass, 10 is always going to be receiver with a cross. And we have an off tackle up the middle, touchdown, Melvin Gordon. He gets 4 yards on right. One of the few places on his card, in fact, one of only 2 places on his card, he was going to convert that touchdown, but he did. Melvin Gordon takes it in, and the extra point by McManus is through, and the Broncos have taken a 14-10 lead on the plus side of that 2-minute warning, and they're going to kick it off inside the end zone down there. And at the 2:06 mark, the Chargers trailing 14-10 will take over at their 25. So yeah, there's so many places, and that's one of the things I think that is really good to learn. That's why I recommended you buy the cards. You can start to see the places on these defensive cards and even the offensive cards where the ratings are. There are places that are static, and you're going to find they're the same on every card. And knowing that information, learning where that information is static, helps you to see instantly on an opponent's defensive card the places that are not static, and that's how you know whether how good or bad that card is. Because the card is the same in, generally speaking, I don't know, 40% of the places, and the rest of it is team specific,
Right.
There's an 11-yard pass and a first down. Justin Herbert to Tyron Johnson, who's having a good first half here. 4 catches, 47 yards. We've reached the 2-minute warning here in Los
Who gets the
Angeles.
ball at half?
So I believe it was the Broncos that had the ball first, but let's double check. First possession of the game did go to the Broncos, so that will be the Chargers that had the ball
So
first.
if the Chargers could score.
That's right. They're trying to double up. 3 wide receivers. They've got 1 halfback, Eckler, beside Herbert, who's in the shotgun. The blitz is going to be shown out of the nickel, and it's a short pass again to Tyron Johnson. Justin Simmons, free safety, was watching Keenan Allen instead, and it's a must-run.
Yeah.
Herbert looking around the corner, and he's loose for 14 yards. He rolled a 3 on that must-run, and that's going to be a first down right to midfield. And that's one thing about Herbert
people overlook. That guy can move. He can get out and get around.
Oh, yeah. And really anymore, there was a day playing the Strata where not a lot of quarterbacks were going to hurt you with those must runs. But as the NFL continues to develop, it's not just that passing game, but quarterbacks that they expect to contribute in the running game. Here's a big pass. It's a little flat pass attacking a 0 linebacker, and the 4 on the white dice is going to beat that linebacker for a 15-yard short gain. So that's Coach Tangora eyeing that 0 linebacker and going right at him, to the tune of a first down completion. Justin Herbert now 157 yards passing here in the first half. We have 1:30 left to go in the first half. Broncos backed up. The Chargers are 1st and 10 in Bronco territory at the 35. And here's a quick out. It's attacking the other flat, but that linebacker has vacated. He's blitzing, so it's an open zone, and that's going to be a nice completion of 11 yards for another first down. There is, like you say, a penalty, and looks like that's a dead ball foul. No, it's offsetting. That's why I was wondering why it still said 1st and 10, offsetting penalties.
I was trying to find it too. I was like, where is that?
So mark off, or scratch off, I should say, that play. We're back to 1st and 10 at the 35. 3 timeouts still for the Chargers, so they're in no particular hurry at this point to get into that end zone. For that reason, I might mix in some runs.
Do people forget to click off that get out of bounds thing? Because to me, like on that play that he had, that screen to the flat on the right side, that play probably would have went 15 more yards.
So, yeah, I'll address that in just a second here. Short pass, 11 yards, and that's out of bounds as well. 1st and 10, Tyron Johnson, yet another catch, and it's 1st and 10 at the 24 for the Chargers. So, yeah, the flat pass, when you select get out of bounds, it doesn't really cost you any yardage. It just means that he's going to attempt to get out of bounds. There's no guarantee he will, but you want to make that effort.
I always wondered how that worked on here.
There's a little dump pass, and it's going to be a 4-yard pickup. Hunter Henry on that grab, his first of the game. We're down to 1 minute left here in the first half.
It's
Chargers now 2nd and 6 at the 20.
Though, huh?
Kind of a what?
Still kind of a sketchy field goal for this guy, huh? You think he might still keep going for it, or you think he'd actually put up the 3 this time?
Anthony certainly talks to me about the concerns he has about his field goal, but kicker. But once he gets inside the 22, which he is now, as long as he's not going to lose any yards, he's still pretty good. There's a run outside for 4 yards. There's a penalty, and they're going to back that up.
Big.
Yeah, it's a holding penalty on the offense at really the worst time. So 2nd and 16 now. Way back at their 30. So just as we're talking about that, he's in that safe field goal range where he can feel comfortable with his less than reliable kicker. He backs himself up with a penalty. And now the Chargers have some work to do if they want to score points here before half.
It's almost a double-edged sword here for the Broncos. You push him back 10 yards, but now you open him up to try to get more points on you, where you could have got the field goal and still taken the lead to half.
Here's an opportunity. Deep ball to Jalen Guyton. The safety was double teaming someone else, so the zone is open, but he's flushed out of the pocket. Didn't see him. He's going to have to throw. He does get a completion, 10 yards on that one. Kareem Jackson made the tackle as Tyron Jackson makes another reception for the Chargers. He's having a busy first half, probably a result of all the double teams that we're seeing to Keenan Allen. Coach Tangora working against that. And Keenan Allen, let's see if I'm not mistaken. I think he had at least 1 or 2. Yeah, he's got 2 catches for 21. Tyron Johnson's been the main weapon here. And
really
guy's got 132 catches. I'd double team him too. Say that again, Jason.
I'm curious why Denver didn't use any timeouts. They just let a lot of time off the clock. Okay.
Well, I see why you might think that, but I think the decision they made has ended up working okay because 37 seconds left. Anthony could still get a touchdown, sure, but you know, if let's say he gets a first down here, he has 3 timeouts, but does he have enough time for 3 more plays? I don't know that he does. It's irrelevant because we got a little dump pass for a 3-yard loss, and this is going to set up an interesting 4th down, 4th and
Man,
9 from the 23. So it is those 3
just
yards really
outside.
cost him. His field goal attempt here is a 2 through 7 and 12, and on 4th and 9 with 30 seconds left, I think he's going to kick that, and he does. I think the odds are just enough to go for that field goal. 2 through 7 and 12. No good. No, wait, it is good. Not only is it good, he got the variable field goal to give him 4 yards extra boost, and that put him into the near automatic range. So he hits the field goal, and the Chargers are now trailing just by 1 point, 14-13.
And Denver got a decent return.
Yeah, nice return on that ensuing kickoff out to the 36, but just 15 seconds left. And back to your point, yeah, maybe if Denver was calling timeouts, he could have saved himself another desperation possession here.
Yeah, not just so much at the end. I mean, I even kind of questioned the Chargers, clock management a little bit too. Just, I don't know. Well, it's very interesting. There's a lot of time left on the clock when the possession happened. I think Denver should have approached it as if they do score, can I get a possession back? Because you're not getting the ball at half.
So yeah, there's more to it than that. That's the way I look at it. I mean, yeah, you may not be getting the ball, but there's still 6 possessions apiece, probably something like that.
Yeah, but you always try to steal one. If you could steal that extra possession for a minute and get you 3 points out of it, that 3 points could be the difference in the game.
Could be team specific. Like if you're quarterbacking Justin Herbert, you're going to call those timeouts because with just 40 seconds left, you can make some noise. But how aggressive do you want to be with Drew Lock in that situation? So, there's 2 schools of thought there, and I can totally see trying to be a little bit more judicious with taking chances when your cards are really not favoring you in the overall matchup. And we've got a field goal attempt. I'm trying to figure out. There was I missed a personal foul by the Chargers, and that has put the Broncos all the way to the 40-yard line with 1 second left. And just as we were talking about it moments ago, 57-yard booming field goal by McManus. That snuck up on me. And the Broncos steal one and get a 17-13 lead at halftime. That's an impressive. Yeah, that 15-yard penalty just could not have happened at the worst time. Broncos are up 17-13 at half. And
what was the penalty?
Say that again.
Personal foul? It was a personal foul?
Yeah, it's right there. Personal foul.
Wow, I don't think I've ever seen a personal foul in all the games I've played.
Oh, good gracious. Then you need to get out more often.
I see plenty of holdings and pass interferences.
You've played me enough times. I don't know how you've missed it because that's.
I think we did have one when we played, actually.
Well, that's right. You had more than that. My Chiefs get flat. My Chiefs are a heavily penalized team, and I get so many personal fouls. We're on to the second half here, folks. Live from SoFi Field, 17-13. Broncos have that halftime lead.
I like how the kicker decided he'd show off his leg again and boom it through the back of the end zone on the opening kickoff.
Yeah. I don't think either of these teams have that good of a return game. I guess the Chargers do have Nasir Adderley, who can get a 76-yard kick return. And I stand corrected. Deontay Spencer can take one back for a touchdown. So the Chargers have to be a little concerned about punting in those situations.
Is that who returned that long kick to set him up in that field goal?
No. Well, actually, you know what? Deontay Spencer does do kick returns. But yeah, it went to the defensive card, though. It was a return that went to the Chargers' defensive returns, if that makes sense.
Yep.
Justin Herbert, an 11-yard completion on that play to Keenan Allen, his 3rd catch. And Herbert's having a very good game here. 18 of 22 now for 190.
Yeah, he's quietly putting together a very impressive game.
Yeah, he's been one of the best quarterbacks in the USFFL all year. He's a great quarterback, and Anthony knows how to use him. And then again, you've got that terrible run blocking, so he's going to throw a lot. He does here, and it's another first down. Short pass to tight end Donald Parham. And Herbert goes over 200 yards passing in this game very early in the third quarter and has the Chargers out near midfield, 1st and 10 at the 48.
You can tell he really knows how to use them too, because he's not, just nickel and diming you to death.
He's also
just 10 here, 12 there, 15 here. Nothing. If it's big, it's because the yards after the catch usually.
Yeah, but then that's part of the strategy is knowing when to hit your how much is your opponent double teaming you, who are they double teaming, and how often do you feel comfortable attacking with your main targets. Flushed out of the pocket now. Herbert's got another completion out of the backfield. The tailback gets 13 yards. That's Austin Eckler for a first down. And right back into the fringe of field goal range, 1st and 10 at the Broncos' 39-yard line.
And this goes back to what I was talking about, that clock management, because you give him the ball, he drives down the field, scores a touchdown. Even though you got that field goal, man, that's going to be demoralizing if he marches down and scores in 4 minutes.
Oh, I don't know about that. I just see these games change so fast, so quickly. I'm less concerned. There's a holding penalty again on the Chargers. They're going to back them up 10, and it's 1st and 20.
Is that
back
like
at the
49 holding penalties on them?
Well, it's interesting you asked. That's where I was going. I felt like there was a little edge there, and there is 49 penalty yards for the Chargers and just 15 for the Broncos so far.
Wow.
It's a clean game as far as turnovers at this point.
They got lucky with the holding they had at the end of the first half, though, to get those yards back and squeak that field goal in.
Yeah. And looking deep now, Herbert dialing up a deep ball. We've got a result receiver, and Jalen Guyton knows what to do with it. 27 yards. Like I mentioned to you earlier, Jason, he's got some receivers, even with Mike Williams out. This team is a team with plenty of offensive weapons. So
it's nice to see when teams actually draft to their strengths.
Yeah. So 1st and 10 now at the Denver 22. Broncos are going to show blitz out of the 3-4. We haven't seen any pressure noticeable yet from their outside linebackers, but we know that could be coming at any time. Here's a little dump pass, and it's going to be a loss of 2 yards on that play.
That was a good play.
Austin Eckler was the target. He's an A-rated YAC player, but even an A rating can get a bad roll, and he lost 2 yards there. 2nd and 12 now at the Denver 24. And here's a pitch out around the end. Austin Eckler, just a 1-yard gain as it went to the offensive blocking for a result. And as previously mentioned, zeros across the line except for that right tackle. So just a 1-yard gain, and that's going to make it 3rd and 11. So a big third down. Broncos will drop back into a dime defense, 3-2-6. They have a pair of 6-rated safeties back there. 3 wide receivers, Guyton now in the slot.
That could be another reason why he doesn't go deep very much, though, too.
Yeah, like I say, there's a million variables, and guys that have been playing this game for as many decades as he has, they're on that level. Oh, here's a big play.
There's a big one.
That's a flat pass. Justin Herbert hits Austin Eckler again. This time that YAC rating gives some more. 17 yards, actually 16, on that play. Into the red zone and down to the 7-yard line. 1st and goal for the Chargers as they are on the doorstep trying to take the lead here early 3rd quarter. Herbert having a great game.
I think at some point, though, Denver has to start bringing some more pressure, though, because he's just picking them apart now.
And that's true, but you're looking right here on the screen. Take a look at Justin Herbert on flat pass. And those -1s are where the YAC rating is. And he's got YAC players like Austin Eckler that can bury you, as he just did on this very play. So even on right, those flat passes are dangerous. All you're doing is doubling that trouble. If you vacate the flat with 0 men, because, boy, the defensive card will just crush you on 0 men. I know that I'm real careful about vacating my flats. There's a run up the middle, 4 yards, but there's a penalty. This one's on Denver, though, so a personal foul hits them, but they're so close to the goal line, it's just going to march them a little closer. It's a 1st and goal at the 1, so the Chargers in good position here. 1st and goal on the 1, I expect a run, and that's what we've got. Justin Jackson up the middle, touchdown, Chargers.
Now, see, playing against like you in that situation, that's when you're the toughest because you could go to Kelsey there.
Sure, I
I
could.
mean, a lot of people will run that, but you'd be smart to go with Kelsey on an out or something too. And that's Kelsey probably scares me more than anybody on that team. I like using the tight ends down there.
Ensuing kickoff, Broncos take over at their 25, 11:06 left here in the third quarter. Chargers now back on top, 20-17 in this back and forth affair. And yeah, it depends, Jason. I get down to inside the 5. I got to be honest, even with Mahomes, even with Kelsey Hill, people that have played me a lot, they'll tell you I'm happy to run. Just because it's safer. Don't get me wrong. I'd like to pile up as many touchdown passes for Mahomes as anybody, but it's safer to run. It just is, and down in the red zone even more so. Here's a nice pass, 8 yards over the middle. Drew Lock hooks up with Melvin Gordon out of the backfield on a little button hook over the middle.
That zero min card.
That's what I was telling you, and you can look at that
zero min. Oh yeah, no, I love that card when it pops up and I'm on offense.
Yeah, everybody does. And so my linebackers are all 4s, so it's just enough that I have a chance to force an incompletion with that 4 because it's not a 0. So I just like to keep them there just in case. Short pass and a first down, Drew Lock. Back-to-back completions. This one's 13 yards. And Jerry Jeudy, his first catch, has the Broncos at the 46-yard line now, 1st and 10. Let's make sure there's nobody else looking to get in at this point. Doesn't look like it.
So is Gordon the starter or is Lindsey the starter?
So on this particular team, I think it depends on how you look at it, but their carries were very, very similar, I think.
Okay.
I've got it right in front of me.
Backfield.
It's a pretty split backfield. Melvin Gordon, 215. Philip Lindsay, 118. So a little more than half, I guess. I guess it's a little more Gordon heavy than I thought it was.
I figured Melvin Gordon was probably better than Lindsay, statistically wise.
Here's a screen to Melvin Gordon. And result of receiver, nothing doing on a 5, incomplete. Melvin Gordon not the best receiver as far as his carded results. So 2nd and 15, there was a 5-yard penalty before that. And so 2nd and 15 for the Broncos at their own 41.
See, that's the luck of the rolls there. Only 4 numbers could have hurt him.
Yeah, but the receiver is, not the best. If you look at that card, there's not a lot of good receptions there, right? So there's a nice run, but he didn't get the number he wanted. 4 yards on end run wrong. Definitely not the best number. Couple short gains, a long gain, a 20 are there, but Melvin Gordon picks up 4. He's struggling today, just 15 yards on 8 carries.
Oof.
And the Broncos
Lindsay's
really
made up for it, though.
Well, not entirely, right? Lindsay is at 5 carries for 48. I mean, yeah, the average per carry is good, but yeah, that's only good if you're getting that over a little bit bigger sample size, especially on a team like the Broncos, because when you have a quarterback that is challenging, I'm looking at you, Daniel Jones. I'm looking at you, Teddy Bridgewater. Some of these more fringe quarterbacks, you really have to get that running game going, and so that you can kind of keep your opponent honest.
Exactly.
Here's a 9-yard completion on that play to Noah Fan, and that's going to set up a big 4th down here. The Broncos are going to go for this. It's 4th and 2. Broncos are at the Chargers' 46-yard line, so they're across midfield, but just barely. There's 8:42 to go here in the third quarter with the Chargers on top by 3. 2 tight ends for the Broncos, showing blitz out of the 3-4, the Chargers.
4th and 2.
On 4th and 2, I don't know. I think I might be inclined to run that ball, but they're going to pass it. Short pass. Jerry Jeudy, he is double teamed, so a great call on defense by Coach Tangura. Flushed out of the pocket, so that's going to work. It's going to be looking for a new target. Drew Lock can't find it, though. Incomplete. Drew Lock not
What would a field goal been like on that from that distance?
It's too far. Yeah, it's at the 46. If you're the Broncos, they only go out to the 41, so you would need a +5 on that variable field goal rule, and unless I'm mistaken, +4 is the max. So, yeah, it wouldn't have been completed.
I was wondering because you said that guy's long was a 59.
Yeah, a 58 is what it could be. 1st and 10, Chargers now at their own 46. They take over near midfield and still have that lead. So a nice turn of events if you're the Bolts. And on a good defensive call, by the way. Short pass here, Donald Parham, and he's got him again. Justin Herbert still sitting on just 4 incompletions now, 24 of 28 for 267 yards. And he's got the Chargers across midfield down to the Denver 43-yard line.
This is going to hurt if they score here. Denver might be in trouble.
You know, I can't accept that. It's only 10 points. It's only 10 points.
But he did just stop him.
Yeah, so. And like I said, I played a game earlier this year that I didn't do anything. I didn't even get to the opponent's red zone until there was 4 minutes left in the game before I saw the red zone. And it's not like I was scoring points from outside of the red zone. But all of a sudden, that's when the dice kicked in for me, and I won the game. It was ridiculous. So there's so much time left. A 10-point lead is nothing here. I'm not confident with a 10. I feel happier with a 10-point lead, but. 1st and 20, we had another penalty on the Chargers, back them up 10. We're halfway through the third quarter, and the Chargers are now 1st and 20 back in their own territory at the 47-yard line. Chargers now 59 penalty yards in this game.
There's been 0 sacks in this game.
That's true. And they have Malik Reed outside, who's an 11 blitzer, and Bradley Chubb, who's an 11 blitzer. But you got to have a chance. You've got to catch them guessing short or long, and you call and pass, and have those guys blitzing and get the die roll. So there are a lot of things that have to fall in place to make that opportunity happen. Here's an incomplete pass to Keenan Allen, and that's going to make it a 2nd and 20. So now the Chargers are definitely way behind the sticks, trying to get to that first down marker. And they're going to go long. They're looking for Jalen Guyton, and that's going to be incomplete. Defensive back in zone, incomplete or 34, and we already made reference to the 6th-rated safety back there for the Broncos. Justin Simmons breaks it up.
Yeah, those safeties are pretty good. I didn't know Denver had that good of safeties.
Yeah, and it gets even better. They drafted what's his name? Patrick Surtain Jr., and he's going to be a real star. Their secondary starting to look really good. 3rd and 20, we've got a button hook to Austin Eckler. That's complete over the middle for 9 yards. Taking advantage of an empty zone and getting 9, but it's not enough, and the Chargers are going to have to punt from from the Denver 44, so they're going to angle that toward the sideline, and a great punt.
Great punt.
That goes out of bounds at the 3. Nicely done by Ty Long, as that punt was just long enough. And the Broncos will take over at their 3-yard line. 6 minutes left in this game. Broncos trailing by 3 points on the road here in Los Angeles.
So what do you do here, Tim? You run it out? You take the chance and run that long bomb like some people do?
I know I'm not going to throw a flat because there's too many places where you can get a -3 on a flat pass. So it's a look in, but it's actually a flat pass. So, and that's true. Sometimes you go flat because your opponent's thinking that the safe play is a look in, and that's probably what Coach Kukofka was thinking there. Plus in this particular matchup, like I said, there's always a million variables. Take a look at that middle linebacker. He's a 5. The outside linebackers are a 4 and a 0. So that's where you got a better chance to capitalize on that short gain that could really get you out past the 20. Here's a quick out. Noah Fant. And for the second play in a row, Drew Lock dials up a 5 on his card. The 5 was no good when it was on right. The 5 was no good on this play when it was on wrong. So it's just not.
Talk about bad luck dice there.
Yeah, it's not Drew Lock's place. So 2 big incompletions there, and that one's a real bad break on wrong. So 3rd and 10 at their own 3. And here's where, it depends. Sometimes I'm tempted to, I don't want to punt from my 3, and sometimes I don't want it bad enough, I'll throw. But staring at a nickel, I don't know. 3 wide receivers, so they're going to set up in a spread formation and shotgun. So they're looking like pass. Chargers are going to sit in the nickel, play it safe. And there's a crossing
I think by the time
pattern.
you get to 3rd down, by the time you get to 3rd down, you should have probably ran and got you some yards out of it. But you get lucky on the PI there, I guess.
That's right. The Chargers, yet another penalty, and a big one. That was going to be an incomplete pass for Drew Lock and the Broncos punting from their 3. But yet another penalty, an 18-yard pass interference penalty, puts the Broncos out to the 21 with a 1st down. So I mentioned in the broadcast last night that everybody sees breaks in every game, but sometimes the story comes down to who gets those breaks and are they at key moments. And it just seems, as I'm watching this game, a lot of the breaks I've seen in this game They may be
Well,
going
the
both
Chargers are
ways, but
5 for 57 for penalties. So I mean
yeah.
that's huge.
But
And
that
that one
also
there, I mean,
that's not entirely
you're
breaks
looking
though.
at field position probably inside the 50 for you too if you get that punt. I mean,
That's
you're
right.
most likely going to have it on your side of the field. So that did a lot.
And there's a flat pass that's going to go for a first down, 13 yards on that catch to KJ Hamler. And the
Yeah, so
Broncos
now
now
even
have
if you
the
stop them, you
34.
still got bad field position now. Most likely, you're going to get a decent punt that puts you on your side. So there's a lot that happened on that penalty. That's crazy. That was a
Yep.
bad penalty.
But you need to know. But you need to know, Jason, that penalties are not a function of random. The dice may be, but
Yeah.
the penalties are literally driven by what your team really did, just like the individual player results are.
So
So
I don't
certain
want the Raiders
teams,
then.
you don't want the Raiders. You get a lot of penalties. Absolutely, you want the Patriots. Yeah, you want the Patriots. Here's a 2nd and 10. The Broncos are at their own 34. They're going to go into 2 tight end formation with Melvin Gordon as the tailback.
So I take back what I said earlier. I don't want any team. I would not take the Patriots.
Yeah, I wouldn't want that team.
I
Just
am an
because I love
AFC
this.
fan, and I do
Listen,
not
they're
like this team.
good. They're good. I just love to hate them. And there's a little flat pass to Noah Fant, and he gets the 8 on his card on receiver. Fant does, and those who know the game best know that 8 is almost always incomplete for a lot of these big tight ends. So 3rd and 10 now for the Broncos. They're at their own 34-yard line. Broncos on the game are 3 of 8. I'm sorry, 2 of 6 on 3rd down conversions so far. Both teams 0 for 1 on 4th.
Yeah, conversions haven't been going too well, it looks like, for either team.
And here's a quick slant to Noah Fant. He is doubled by that free safety. It is complete anyway. Nice pickup there as Herbert finds the doubled up Noah Fant, but it's not enough for a first down, just 5 yards, and the Broncos are going to punt. Sam Martin from his own 39, and that's a boomer. All the way down to the 1-yard line. The Chargers are going to let that bounce, and let's see what they get. And sure enough, it rolls into the end zone. There's at least a couple places there where that can bounce right back out and pin you deep, but the Chargers make the right calculation and from the 1, let that roll in. They'll take over at the 20. Now 2 minutes and 42 seconds to go here in the 3rd quarter. Chargers up by 3, and they've got the possession.
We haven't had a turnover this game yet, have we?
No, it's turnover free so far. And there hasn't even been a fumble. Time of
that could be
possession is
the
about the
turning
same.
point.
Oh, yeah, turnovers are huge in this game. Both teams are perfect from the red zone. It's a close game so far. There's a flat
Seems
pass
like
for 4
something's
yards.
about to break again. Like when Lindsey broke that 39-yard run, it just seems like we've gotten stagnant again. Something's going to break again. Somebody's going to figure something out here.
I know. And sometimes it's just the dice. And so I try to keep my head in the game. If I'm in a game like this, it's tight, and somebody all of a sudden there's a 60-yard touchdown. I worry, I bitch about that later when the game's over. I'm immediately thinking, okay, start recalibrating.
Look at this.
Uh-oh, we have a long pass. Jalen Guyton, he's got it, and that's going to be all the way to the end zone. Touchdown. Justin Herbert.
Yards.
Herbert is blowing up in this one. That was a long pass to an empty zone in the deep area. And so when it goes to the defensive card, he hit a long gain. Even with one man there, that's a plus 31. But because that deep zone had been vacated, that was a long gain and a good roll on that long gain chart on the home chart. I don't know if you know, but that home long gain chart, a little bit better than the road long gain chart. And so
I'm going to laugh when they watch this and hear me say something big's about to happen.
76-yard touchdown pass, Herbert to Jalen Guyton. And at the 2:06 mark of the 3rd quarter, the Chargers extend to a 2-score lead now, 27-17. Like I
Wait,
said,
that was a 76-yard touchdown?
It sure was.
I didn't notice that. So he was only 2 more yards and he wouldn't have got a touchdown on that.
Yeah, 2 less yards.
Because it was only 77. That's interesting.
And
I know that's probably as frustrating for everybody else as it is for me when you see that like 50-yard card pop up or something and you're like, I'm 55 yards away.
Jalen Guyton's long that year was 72. And so, that's a nice long game, but he also scored a touchdown that play, which means in strat terms, he can go as far as he wants to.
Oh, is that how that works? They're long.
Yeah.
If they hit their long, they can go all the way for a touchdown?
So again, I'm not the rules expert, but I should be able to cite these just fine. So receivers can go as long as their longest reception that real year, and that's represented on the card. If that longest reception has a black dot by it, it means they scored a touchdown on that play, and it means they're actually eligible to go all the way. So you like to see
Because
that
in
little black
theory
dot
they
there.
would have went longer. Yeah,
That's
I got
exactly
you.
right. But the other thing is that in our league, for wide receivers only, I don't think there's a limit on that long pass in certain. I got to think about. I'm trying to remember where we have that rule in place, and I can't. I'm nervous about to quote. Let me think on that for a little bit.
No, you're fine. I don't care.
That was Drew
I mean,
Lock looking for a deep ball and missing Jerry Jeudy. 2nd and 10. The Broncos are across midfield at the Chargers' 41-yard line.
got to score here. And it's got to be a touchdown. I think you got to score a touchdown here.
There's an interception split roll on a flat pass, but Lock misses that pick. He hit his possible interception. Escapes
Do picks
that.
ever go for touchdowns? I've never seen a pick go for a touchdown.
Again, you need to get out more often. You're saying the kind of things that people say when they've played Stratomatic for 4 or 5 games, not 4 or 5 decades, like a lot of us.
I've played like 20 games. I mean, I think that's quite a lot for somebody who's not even in the league.
It is, but I can tell you I've played about 720, and I need to know the rules better than I do. Here's a flat pass, nobody there, incomplete, I should say. Hits an empty spot on that one man in the zone. Sorry. 4th and 10
some
now.
Bad rolls. He's had some good cars. He's had some bad rolls.
He's going to go for it here, and I don't blame him. It's 4th and 10. You're across midfield at the 41 of the Chargers, and because it's only 10 yards, a short pass that's completed should get you where you want to go, and I think that's worth the risk. You're trailing by 10. You're at the 41. Actually, now that I think about it, there is the field goal. Remember, his kicker is that good. But the problem is the range goes out to the 41. So if you lose 1 yard on the variable field goal range, it's going to consider you out of range, and that's not going to be a good field goal. So that risk makes it too high. It's probably, for that reason, either a punt or you go for it. And I think he's made the right call here. He's got 3 wide receivers split out. Jerry Jeudy's in the slot. The defense is going to double team KJ Hamler, but it's a short pass targeting Tim Patrick, and that's good.
Got
Drew
it.
Lock in the clutch, nails him on a 5. That's an 11-yard completion.
Big.
And that's going to get the Broncos down to the 30-yard line. And you're right, Jason. That's a huge play.
Lock is just chucking it though. That guy, 31 passes today, and he's not even 50%.
Well, that's, again, but that's what's beautiful about this game in strat, just like it is in real life. You may have a quarterback. He's no Justin Herbert, but that just creates the challenge of how can I manipulate my odds to, of course you're going to chuck it.
Another injury.
Because they're going to score a lot of points on you. Yeah, you're right. Denver Patrick got shaken up on that. I said Denver Patrick. Tim Patrick of Denver got injured on that play. Let's take a look. I think looks like he's only out for the balance of this game. He'll be available in overtime, actually, if that happens. We'll see if that does. But if they get to overtime, he'll appreciate that because he now has 2 receivers that are out of this game right now.
I will say before that injury, I do respect the fact that he has a game plan with Locke and he's staying with it.
Yeah.
He obviously came into this game to throw the ball and he's not getting away from that. I have a lot of respect for that.
Well, I mean, the balance, everybody passes more than run most of the time in this league. 31 pass attempts. Let's see. 19 rushes. Honestly, that to me is about an average load balance of what I see from most teams in this league. And that's just because of what you alluded to earlier. It's pass heavy. That's the direction this league and all leagues are going to represent the NFL. There's an off tackle for 6 yards. Melvin Gordon missed the big gains on his card, but managed to get the 6 he needed for a first down, move the chains, and the Broncos are now 1st and 10 at the 20. They trail by 10 in this game. We're now into the 4th quarter here at SoFi Stadium, 13-12 to go. And
now you got to avoid that elusive turnover I've been talking about. Now is when you don't want that turnover to pop up.
So I've gone ahead and welcomed Harlan to this game. It looks like he's here just to listen, and that's just fine. That's totally cool. Let me get back to my full screen game, and we've got a nice pickup there. That is a run for Melvin Gordon for 16 yards. He got a short gain on his card. I think that may be the first time I've seen on their own card hitting the number he's looking for. But he's got him down to the 4-yard line. So the Broncos about to get right back in this game. They're down by 2 scores here, 27-17 with 12:54 to go. But the Broncos 1st and goal at the 4. And here's an inside run against a run defense, and that's -1. Melvin Gordon got it to his card, so not a lot of opportunities there. It's now 2nd and goal at the 5-yard line. Gordon, 14 carries in this game and not yet averaging 3 yards per carry. It's been
I'd
tough
like to see a
tough
tight
sledding
end.
for him.
Tight end pass right here is what I'd like to see.
Well, they might see it. 2 tight ends are in the game, Fant and Nick Vannett. 4-3 defense showing blitz for the Chargers.
Got a lot of zeros on that line.
Yep. And here's a pitch out to Melvin Gordon. They're guessing run again, and that's going to be a loss of 2. That was a blocking back formation. So in a blocking back formation, you're looking for that fullback or a blocking back in front of you. In a 2 tight end formation like we just saw, that person doesn't exist. And so that netted a -4 with a linebacker there. So 3rd and goal way back at the 9, and the Broncos, they could still run it, but they're probably looking at a pass here. Especially when, even if you get sacked, you've got the kicker that's likely going to nail it. Let's see. I want to make sure he's just that automatic in short range, and he sure is. Denver is a 2 through 10 all the way out to the 32-yard line, so not a lot of risk if you want to go ahead and try to throw for this. They'll be in the shotgun with 2 tight ends. The Chargers are going to set up in a deeper nickel 4-2-5, showing blitz from the aforementioned Nasir Adderley.
3rd and goal, huge play. Got to get in there.
Actually, even if you miss it, you've got the field goal, and it cuts it to a 1-score game. But you're right. It's a very big play. Short pass to Jerry Jeudy. He is double teamed, and that is the difference. That's incomplete. Let's see. Incomplete XOR 15. And I'm trying to see who he was doubled by. That's the piece I'm missing. Here's the field goal attempt by the Broncos, and it's through. So the Broncos pick up 3 points.
So you cut it to 7, but your offense hasn't been doing much. So that was my concern with needing the touchdown, because
but you've got to get it to
done a whole lot.
But you got to get it to a 1-score game before you can get it to a tie game. So, it is what it is. And you see what's happened here. Sometimes on a kickoff, it locks up. So we'll give us a second here for our listening audience as I go ahead and cue this game up again for us. We are 4th quarter, Chargers and Broncos. With the Broncos on top, or I should say the Chargers on top right now, 27-20, early 4th quarter.
So what's the playoff picture look like? Who's in what?
That is gorgeous. I'll show that to you here in a little bit. Give me a second.
I figured you had something that you could just draw up and show it.
I can't believe I haven't already shown it to you. Of course I do. Where's my game? There it is. Los Angeles, Denver. Watch game. Launch. So we're 4th quarter in a 1-score game. And so let me start before I actually pull up a chart. And we'll see, but I may wait till the game's actually over to pull up the chart that kind of breaks it down for us, Jason. But I can tell you that the playoff lives of a lot of teams are kind of at stake on this very game. And that's because, like I said, the Chargers, they clinch a playoff spot if they win this game. They don't if they lose. The Broncos clinch a berth in our Coach of the Year tournament if they win this game. They don't if they lose. So both teams are up to clinch something. And then again, it affects the Chiefs. If the Chargers lose here, my Chiefs win the division. If the Chargers win, it's also impacting the Bills and Dolphins. As soon as the Chargers win this game, it eliminates completely the 7-8 Dolphins and the 6-8 Bills.
And so another question too that I just thought of while you were going through this. Will the season change next year to 18 games?
Well, so it'll change. We will play the exact season next year that you see this year in real life. We'll play the same skip. We'll play the same teams. We'll play the same schedule. We'll play the same number of games. We'll have the same number of playoff teams, the whole 9 yards. So last year there was still only 16 games, but there were 7 playoff teams, and that's what we're doing right now.
That's right. I forgot the playoffs were different. Now, the playoffs are going back to normal this year, aren't they?
Nope. Short pass. That's a first down again to Keenan Allen, who has his 4th catch of this game. And the Chargers, already up 7, are out to their 47-yard line, 1st and 10, with 9 minutes plus to go in this game.
Seems like the Chargers just kind of figured out the secret sauce now. I mean, they're kind of moving the ball.
Well, see, that's the thing.
At the pace they want to now.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. He's in my division. I've been paying attention. I broadcast some games. This isn't the secret sauce. This is what I would call the Charger sauce. This is the Herbert sauce. This is what he does all the time. He's going to throw a lot, and Herbert's having success today on that. Let's see what he does here on 1st and 10. That's going to be a little flat pass, not success there. It's complete for a loss of 2 on his own card. Herbert doesn't hit his number, so 2nd and 12. But Herbert on the day is 30 of 37 for 375 yards and a pair of scores. So, Chargers only up by 7, but Herbert's doing everything he can do for sure.
No picks, though. That's a lot of throws with no picks.
That's true. Looking at the pass run ratio, we already looked at that. I said it was kind of normal for the Broncos, like league standard. Chargers are going to be a pass heavy team. They always have been. There's a 4-yard completion. It's going to set up a 3rd and 8. We'll look at that here. But the Chargers pass run ratio in this game, for example, he's running the ball 17 times to 37 passes, so well over a 2-to-1 ratio, and that's what the big passing teams in this team do. They're going to run and gun a lot. We've got a 3rd and 8 here, and it is going to be a deep ball to Tyron Johnson, and that's going to be complete. That's 28 yards. Herbert on his card hits the 10, and that's going to be a nice completion down to the 23-yard line of the Broncos. So that's big boy ball. Tyron Johnson continues to just dominate this game as far as the passing game for the Chargers. 9 catches and 91 yards so far. And that particular pass has now put Herbert over 400 yards in this game. Still 8:24 to go in the 4th quarter. Chargers up 27-20. And there's another flat pass for a loss of 2. Worse yet, there's an injury, and it's a big one. Tyron Johnson, aforementioned receiver who just caught his 10th pass in this game, is now out, and he's going to miss this game and the final game against the Chiefs and a wild card game to follow. So another big injury for the Chargers. 2nd and 12 for Los Angeles at the Denver 25. They're going to feel squirrely about any field goal attempt that's outside of that 22-yard range. So he's going to certainly want to get in there closer. And there's going to be a short pass. Keenan Allen against a run defense. Good odds here. And that's a 14-yard completion. Herbert to Allen, the most prolific combination in the league this year. 132 receptions coming into this game and 5 more for Allen.
See, I think you should have rolled the dice and tried to get the touchdown last time, because now you're going to go down 2 scores with 2 touchdowns.
You say that. I don't know, man. I like what the Broncos did there. You've got to cut it to if I get a chance to cut it to 1 score, I got to do that. So
I wouldn't have confidence in my defense at this point.
There's an off tackle to Austin Eckler, and he has hit his number on his card right into the end zone around the left tackle. That's a touchdown for the Chargers, just what they needed. And the Chargers assume a 2-touchdown lead at the 7:30 mark of the 4th quarter. So we're halfway through the 4th quarter here in Los Angeles. And the Los Angeles Chargers taking a big step toward clinching a playoff berth, now up 14 points on the visiting Broncos. So
that was a great call, by the way. That was a great call on that play.
So you've got a 1st and 10 at the 25. Broncos take over, and they still have 3 timeouts in half the 4th quarter. I know based on some of the stuff you've said, Jason, you're concerned, but 7:30 to go, 3 timeouts, plenty of time here, I promise, for the Broncos.
I'm just worried about the defense, though. You're going to have to give the ball back to the Chargers at least if you score again. And
he's going to have to be more aggressive.
Yes.
Yeah, he'll have to be aggressive. And here's a quick out to Noah Fant. He's attacking a 0-rated linebacker, and he's picked up 12 yards, not because of that 0 rating, but because Noah Fant, like a lot of tight ends, has a real good number on the 5 roll. And he picked up a 12-yard gain, and the chains have been moved. Broncos setting up 1st and 10 at their 37.
Yeah, that's why I like using Ebron with the Steelers.
Speaking of aggressive, a deep ball to Jerry Jeudy, and that's going to be intercepted by the Chargers. They've got 2 men in that long pass zone, and it is picked off back there.
And they get a touchdown.
And you asked about a touchdown return, and you have one, Jason.
Man.
That is brought back to the house. 63 yards.
Have that big play threat.
Chris Harris, the former Bronco, intercepts that ball and takes it to the house. And the Chargers are now sporting a 3-touchdown lead. And now, Jason, you have my permission to be worried about the Broncos.
Well, and it all goes back to the first half still, too, with that time management. I'm telling you, if he could have got that possession back after they scored and scored something before the half, maybe different. But, he hasn't done much since the end of the first half. 3 points. You can't keep up with the Chargers from what I'm seeing with their offense scoring
Well,
3 points.
but at the same time, you were right. He had a plan. He followed it. And when you're the underdog and the cards are not in your favor, all
Yeah.
you can do is follow the plan, hope for the best. I go into every game, and this is what I've always said when I tell people about Stratomatic. It's 3 parts. One part is who has the better cards. One part is who makes the better calls, and one part is who gets the better dice. And you're going to have to win 2 of those 3 probably if you want to win the game. So if you have a card disadvantage, you better have some good dice, and you better make some good calls. So the deck is always stacked against you. And I think the Broncos did as much as they could to stay in as long as they can. And at halftime, this was a real close game, but boy, eventually Herbert keeps passing. It's just a matter of time. And I know I've experienced that personally against the Chargers in that early game where he just keeps throwing and keeps throwing. And the other thing that really didn't come into play a lot here is in my matchup, he was, afraid of Mahomes and the offense. So he was uber aggressive about attacking me with 4th downs. Every time I think I've got to stop, he's like, no, I'm going for this one too.
See, that's what happens when I play Sean. He does that to me all the time too. He's super aggressive and goes for 4ths.
Broncos now across midfield. That's a pickup of 12 yards on the run by Royce Freeman. He got a box on that play that added 10 yards to the run. That's added, Jason, because there's only one linebacker in the zone that he ran behind. And here's another run, but it's a short gain, and that's going to be a 1st down. 16-yard run, but dead ball foul. They're not going to count that run because the Chargers marched off sides. 5-yard penalty, 1st and 5. So this game, basically, we're playing out the string a little bit here. 3 minutes, 18 seconds left, and the Chargers are up by 21 points. And the Broncos are getting some late running success. Here's another short gain. Royce Freeman. 3 consecutive runs that are looking good for Freeman. That one for 15 yards and a 1st down and into the red zone. The Broncos at the 19-yard line.
If he scores again, this is probably going to bring up an onside kick. How effective are onside kicks in Stratomatic? I think I've done one.
So they're better than they used to be, but it is a 2 through 4, 11. I'm sorry, 2, 3. I'm sorry, 2, 3, 11, and 12 is what I usually see when that onside kick comes up. 2, 3, 11, and 12.
Are there any kickers that are better than that?
No, not to my knowledge. Again, I'm not your best resource, but I don't believe the onside kick is something that is in any way individualized to the kicker. And let me just tell you, we got another injury in this one. Oh, my. Royce Freeman has dislocated his shoulder, and he is out for 10 games. When you're talking about things that you've never seen, when you're talking about things you've never seen, Jason, I'm not going to tell you I've never seen. But it is rare to see injuries that are over 5 games, and I don't remember the last time I saw it.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. And so I can tell you that injuries are a little bit of a source of contention. There's 2 parts of this league that, half that really love them and half that really hate them. And so all I can tell you about an injury of 10 games is that I am thrilled to discover it is not on a team that's going to be in the USFFL playoffs. It will hurt the Broncos, of course, for their Coach of the Year effort, if they win their final game of the year and get that Coach of the Year playoff berth.
No, you should let them play with the injured players.
Oh, you know what? I'm glad you said that because we do. It occurs to me, and I had forgotten about this, that I think we instituted a new rule last year that when the season is over for the Coach of the Year tournament, we're going to clear out all your injuries and let you start again. But for the playoffs, no, of course not. We're playing the real. We're recreating the actual real season, and you carry those injuries over into the playoffs. So Royce Freeman should be available if the Broncos clear that last win and make it to the Coach of the Year. By the way, Jason, Coach of the Year tournament to get to be eligible and get in that tournament. Step 1: miss the USFFL playoffs. All right, so it's only for teams that don't make the playoffs. Step 2, win at least one more game than your real team won the year before that you're carded for. So the Broncos in real life won 5 games. Broncos already have 5 wins here. He needs that 6th win to go to that tournament. He doesn't look like he's going to get it here, so he's going to be trying to get it in his finale. And I'll give you a sneak peek of those sheets you were asking about, because now I'm curious. In the AFC West, Broncos' final game is going to be against the Raiders. So if he can beat the Raiders, he'll be in that tournament.
But the Raiders are a playoff team, aren't they?
The Raiders were eliminated with a loss to the Dolphins just last night. That read right there. He lost to the Dolphins. And
okay, that's why I didn't realize they lost to the Dolphins.
Yep. So we are probably victory formation here. Taking a knee is Justin Herbert. That's going to wind out the clock on this one. So your final score from SoFi Stadium in Los Angeles. The Broncos take an early lead, 7-3, but the Chargers come storming back and win this one, eventually 41-20, as the Chargers score 10, 14, and 14 in the last 3 quarters to run away with this one. And with the win, the Chargers have advanced to the USFFL playoffs. They're guaranteed at least a wild card, and if the Chargers can beat the Chiefs next week, we're going to have ourselves a division championship for the Chargers.
Oh, wow. So you play the Chargers next week, so that'll be for the division crown?
It will. It was based on this game. If the Chargers won this game, he clinched the playoff. He's got a wild card guaranteed, and I've got a wild card guaranteed. Both the Chargers and I are in the playoffs now. But I was going to win the division if he lost this game because he won the game. Now we're going to go head-to-head next week. And, of course, Anthony says he'll be here soon. I expected that. Anthony's typically good to join the broadcast. Let me take a look. I just want to see if anybody's there right now. Doesn't look like it. So let's take a quick look for people at the stats. I want to see how we ended up. The Chargers, 503 yards of offense. Yeah, once he started lighting that pilot, he lit that pilot light, and then Justin Herbert went off. He outgained the Denver Broncos in this game, 503 to 336. And
he averaged a first down every pass. Did you see that? His average was 10.4.
Average yards per pass, 10.4. Yeah, you're doing all right. 33 of 40 for 415 yards. So definitely
126.6 rating.
Yeah, I wasn't that concerned. And here's the big impact. I know you said Philip Lindsay. He only had one more carry after we made that comment. But you look at Melvin Gordon, 17 carries, 35. And I'm sorry if you're the Broncos and you're looking to upset somebody and you've got Drew Lock as a quarterback, you've got to have success running the ball or they're just going to kill you, because Drew Lock's not going to be a winner on short pass or any kind of pass for anything other than short spurts, if that makes sense. You're going to have to get real lucky. So he just didn't get the numbers he needed, and that was, I think, rooted in the fact that he didn't get the running game that he really needed to stay competitive. So let's go ahead. Am I still on full screen? I am. Let's take it off full screen to start so that I can start. And there's DK. Give me a second here, Jason, because I think this is it. David, welcome to the broadcast.
I only got 2 minutes, but boy, what a great job he did. I'm usually really good on defense, picking what people are going to do, and I could not get him right.
Yeah, Anthony's pretty experienced, and he kind of had that. And then also, once I was telling Jason, once that pilot light got lit on Justin Herbert, you contained him. You did as much as you could in the first half, and you were able to keep it a game. But boy, once that pilot light gets lit,
I'm usually good at guessing the flat pass and double teaming. That's what I've done well all year, and I don't think I got it right once where he was throwing the ball. So great job.
I know he got a turnover on one of his double teams on you. So.
Yeah, I know. He killed me. Oh, yeah. Great job. Outcoached me. Wonderful job.
Yeah, so I know you only said you had a couple minutes, so let me just go ahead and let's focus on you real quick before I get you out of here, because the first time I got to meet you, so I'm real glad that you popped in on the broadcast.
Yeah, he did.
Congratulations, by the way, on a good season, because your Broncos only won 5 games in real life, and so you're still, even after this loss, you can still make the Coach of the Year tournament by beating the Raiders in the final week.
I'll give it a shot.
I saw Royce Freeman got hurt. Correct me if I'm wrong about this, Anthony, but he'll get Royce Freeman back. Didn't we change the rules so that for the Coach of the Year tournament, injuries reset?
Yep.
Right. So
not next week, but.
Not next week. That's right. You won't have Royce Freeman next week, but if you win that game, make the Coach of the Year tournament, we're going to clear all those injuries for you with that new rule. So
you don't see many game injuries. I mean, you don't see it very often,
10 games on that injury.
Tim said that too. 10 games, yeah.
Tim, we should have them. If you want to have any injury vote, the one vote that I think, because we've had 1,000 injury votes, the one that we haven't covered is, can injuries carry over to next year?
No. Well, as soon as I see one that doesn't say 10 weeks, but says, say, 48 weeks, I will absolutely make sure we extrapolate that out. But yeah, David, I want to congratulate you on a good season. I'm really glad you're part of the league, and I'm so glad you stopped by. It's nice to meet you.
I'm enjoying it. I got to run, but you guys are great. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thanks for stopping
in. Nice to meet you, man.
All right, guys. See you guys.
Take it easy. I appreciate it. So, Anthony, hey, congratulations. I was just telling Jason that by winning this game, you've not only clinched a playoff spot, but you've earned the opportunity to play for a division title next week against the Kansas City Chiefs.
We'll see. I mean, we'll see what happens the rest of the way here. I mean, without those guys, and we got to see that match.
Yeah.
You
had some injuries that were key. Let me kind of pull those up if I can here.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to have much to gain by going all out or not. I mean, we're going to have to do a little calculation when all the results come in. Let me just grab a water here. What's it?
Wow. So setting up he'll talk about it in a second, but setting up those injuries, he's still, again, in that game against me for the division title. The Chargers will be without Joey Bosa, who's a 6-rated defensive end against the run, and their best blitzer with an 8 rating. So he's missing that guy. Trey Turner is out. That is a right guard that pass blocks at a 5. That downgrades to a 2. And what's really bad about that, just to highlight it, is that Trey Turner against a 4-3 defense. I know I mentioned, Jason, that in this game, Trey Turner was blocking against the linebacker, the second-high linebacker, but against a 4-3 defense, that right guard blocks against the yeah, it is right. The right guard. So the right guard blocks against Chris Jones. So Chris Jones will now be facing in that game a 2 pass blocker instead of a 5, which is a ginormous difference. You're also without 2 receivers for that game, Mike Williams and Tyron Johnson. So that's going to limit. Let me say, what does that do for you? You would know better than me, Anthony. Tell me what that does to you as far as your receivers. Who else do you still have?
So it would just be Guyton and Allen. That's all there is. So
then I'm looking at it
and,
now.
And Hunter Henry would basically run out of a 2 tight end set. And I don't know.
I'm looking at it right now, and yeah, it looks like you would literally have, other than throwing to running backs, you only have 4 options going into that game, which is Keenan Allen and Jalen Guyton. The nice thing about Guyton is if you got to have somebody that's going to fill in for Mike Williams, Guyton's a nice deep threat that kind of balances out and allows you to make your usual play calls.
He had to come in today. How many receptions did he end up with today?
He went for a big one today, I thought, too.
You did, and he ended up with 10. It was on his 10th. I'm not sure. You're talking about Guyton, or you're talking about
Guyton? Receptions for Guyton.
Yeah, I'll have to look at that. I remember Tyron Johnson got 10 catches. It was his 10th catch that caused the injury. Guyton, I know he had the 176-yard touchdown, and beyond that, he had one other catch that put him over 100. So a 76-yard touchdown and an additional 27-yard reception. I remember that one. That was on Herbert's card on right.
Well, he was 4 away from overuse. I don't think they would have sat him anyway if he hit 4. Johnson was 10 away from overuse, but he's injured anyway now. So it doesn't look like overuse. I doubt it would come into play anyway. But I didn't want to play Guyton today because of the overuse. So he was thrust into the game with the Williams injury.
So let's go ahead and pull this up. Jason was asking about kind of where we stood on playoffs a little bit ago, and since you're now done, let's go ahead and update this. The Chargers in this game have improved to 9-7. Is that right? No, I'm sorry, 9-6. Apologies. And with that, I already did the tiebreaker math, and that's going to clinch them a minimum of a wild card berth, which is why I'll shade that yellow. This victory for the Chargers also eliminates both the Buffalo Bills and the Miami Dolphins. It's because if they get to 8-8, their problem is that the Texans and Titans play each other in the final week. So one of them is guaranteed to get their 9th win. And now that you can slot that in beside the Chargers' 9th win, there's no way for these 8-loss teams to make the playoffs. Huh?
How about a tie?
Tie for what? They can't get
the Titans-Texans game ties.
You're gonna do that. Let me think. So if they tie, it'd be the same thing, right? Because if they tie, one of them would advance as 8-7-1. That would still beat 8-8. So it'd be the same thing. So based on that, we know the Bills and Dolphins just got eliminated, and so we're really down to just this one playoff spot. I can tell you that the Ravens lost head-to-head No, beat the Titans head-to-head and lost to the Texans. Let me double-check that. Ravens beat the Titans and lost to the Texans. So that means that, obviously, the one thing we have to first look at is there's no way to get a three-way tie here for that final playoff spot. No, I stand corrected. There is, because if you lose 9-7, Ravens could be 9-7, but I've already done the work on this, and so three-way tie break right here at a wild card for 9-7. Chargers, Ravens, Titans. That gets reduced to Titans, Chargers. And that was based on the Ravens having the worst conference record of the three. And then the Titans beat you, and that was based over here on common games.
Beat who?
So
okay.
In that three-way tiebreak, Chargers, Ravens, Titans, we start with because nobody is looking for a head-to-head sweep, and nobody played both the other teams.
You're talking about seeding, or you're talking about making it in?
I'm talking about the tiebreaker. You're already in, but it's because I've already established it. It's because I see you in green here, and I see you in green here. If we have a three-way tiebreak at 9-7 between Chargers, Ravens, Titans, it's the Titans and the Chargers that advance. If we have a three-way tiebreak at 9-7 between Chargers, Ravens, and Texans, because the Texans have beaten the Titans, then it's Chargers and Texans that advance. Either way, the Ravens are kind of locked out if they end up in that three-way tie. They can, however, win a two-way tiebreak as long as it's against the Titans. And the Texans, that leaves them in a win and in scenario. If the Texans get to 9 wins, they're in no matter what. So they are the ones that are really controlling their own destiny. Once I end the week, I'll shift and I'll put these in order, and the Texans will be here. I don't like to move until the week's over so I can kind of remember. It gives me a better point of reference. So I noticed today and have mentioned that there are these top 5 teams right here, all the way down to the Browns, are all sporting a mathematical path that can get them to the number 1 seed. So 5 different teams that can still end up with the 1 seed, 6 of the 7 playoff teams determined, and 3 teams fighting for that last spot. Down here, this is the fun one. I'm not going to go into too much detail about it, but I just got to tell you,
14-1.
Yeah, let's put it this way: if they both end in a tiebreaker at 15-1, as you're looking for the top seed, first tiebreaker head-to-head doesn't count. Second tiebreaker conference record is even. Third tiebreaker was common games, and that is even. And it takes it all the way to the fourth tiebreaker, which is strength of victory. And so for strength of victory, I've got it laid out for you right here. Everybody they played, and I've been tracking it, every time any one of these 21 teams win a game from here until the end of the season, that will add somewhere here to affect these two totals to see who had the tougher schedule on the games they won. So give me just a second here. I'm going to let you take over if you understand that.
So I have a question for you, Anthony, because you have to play Tim next week, right?
Yep.
So what are your thoughts on playing him next week?
Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, it's going to be a calculation. If the first question, Tim, I guess, is going to be who wins the Chargers-Ravens tiebreak if we're both at 9-7.
So I know I assume that's got to be you, or I wouldn't have marked you yellow. But I've made mistakes before. Let's double check it real time.
No, I mean, in terms of seeding, let's talk about seeding now.
Oh, well, the seeding is done the exact same way that tiebreakers are. It's no different. So you just look at the same set of circumstances.
So we didn't play head-to-head. Next is conference? Or
Excuse me. I'm so sorry. That's why I got a drink.
That's right. You didn't play the head-to-head. I was thinking head-to-head because the Central is playing the West, but that's this year, not last year.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to go to the page that I generally keep up all day, every day in my life. And
so, and as he does that, Jason, the reason I'm asking is if I can hold that seed, then there's a very good chance. I believe that New England could lock in the 2 seed. So if they lock in the 2 and I can lock in no worse than 6, then I can decide if I want to know what my matchup is going in and not play hard against the Chiefs.
Is that to like avoid injury and that kind of thing?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
you and I are kind of looking at that differently because I understand the avoid injury part, but like even if I will play a tougher team by beating you and winning the division, well, I still want to win the division. I mean, I'm gonna.
But I see where he's coming from, though. I think because there's only the one bye, so if you're not the
Right.
number one seed, it's really not that beneficial. So would it be more beneficial to have a solid team in the playoffs?
Well,
Or
I mean,
is it more beneficial for him to win the division?
I am more scared. I've got to be more scared of these teams that that have great quarterbacks. I mean, and also great defense. I don't know. It's
Well, I think
That's
you're
every
in the
team
mix
above
of great
you.
quarterbacks.
I was gonna say that's
Yeah,
every
I mean,
team above
it's
you
gonna-
just described.
Yeah, exactly. Except the Browns maybe, but there's no way I'm facing the Browns.
Probably not. Yeah.
So it's part of it's going to depend on that Chargers Ravens tiebreak. Did you determine that one, Tim?
So yeah, on a two-way tiebreak, Chargers and Ravens. It does start, like I said, head-to-head. You guys don't have that, so it's going to go right to conference record. And if you're 9-7, you're going to beat him. I'm confident on that. He ends up 6-6, I think, if he gets to 9-7. No, yes, he wins against the Bengals. His conference record would go to 6-6. If you get to 9-7, though, I think you're 7-5. Let me look.
They'll give me another loss in conference.
So you just won against the Broncos. So yeah, you're 7-4 right now in the conference. So if you end up at 9-7, that would be a loss here. So you would end up 7-5, and the Baltimore Ravens can only get to 6-6. So yeah, you're going to beat. That's why I had you as clinched, because every way I played it, you're still going to come out on top and be a playoff team.
So that increases the chance. That increases the chance that I'll play it safe. And remember, last year in Week 17, that's what happened in this real life game. Except it was the other way around. The Chiefs didn't play. Anybody. And the Chargers won the game against who's the Michigan guy, Chad Henne was the quarterback. Etc. So we'll see. I mean, it's going to depend. If the Steelers already won this week, Steelers won this week.
No, the Steelers lost this week. They lost to the Colts,
right. They played,
and that's why we have so many teams log jammed here that can get the one seed. Is their big loss to the Colts?
So maybe I can't lock in a matchup.
Your perspective is very different from mine, because at 10-5, I actually still have a path to the one seed. Yeah. So I'm looking at you, and not only do I want to compete for that division title, I really have a responsibility to, at least until somebody shows me by a game that they play. And sometimes it's smart, and I think I've done this in the past, where you get down to the late, it's like I don't necessarily want to schedule that last game of the season early in the week. Sometimes it's good to see what your opponent does, but yeah, I've got a path to the one seed, so you'll be getting my ones. And you mentioned Chad Henne. I almost never look at that. It's a backup card, and I have Mahomes, so why do you look? But if you do look, that's one of the better backup cards you're going to find.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Chad Henne's a beast. So even though I would be devastated, mentally not being able to take Mahomes into the postseason, Chad Henne can win for me. So I'm going to go for that one seed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if you're looking at his card, but he can work. So,
I mean, he'd start on most teams if he wasn't on the Chiefs right now.
Yeah, he's got one of those. I don't know all the other backups in this league, but he's got to be one of the top 5 backup cards in the league.
I can think of a yellow and black team that would take him right now over Roethlisberger, probably.
Yeah. So that's where we're at. We were really down to just 3 more playoff spots to be determined, 1 in the AFC and 2 in the NFC. So, Anthony, listen, man, congratulations. That's a big win for you, man. You got your playoff bid.
It was an interesting game. I mean, it was very much a Chargers-Broncos game, I thought. It's amazing that he caught up in penalties at the end. But I was destined to get hurt in penalties there. It's in the cards. I mean, you just got to live with that. And he's destined to get screwed over by Drew Lock.
Yeah.
And he did. But he didn't get good run rolls.
Yeah, and that's what I was telling Jason, is that if you're the Broncos and you have an inferior carded team and a quarterback that's not going to be like Justin Herbert, you're not going to win this kind of a tough matchup if you can't find success running the ball, so you can keep your the defense honest. Because if all you have to do is not worry about the run and you can just focus on Drew Lock, that's just one of those quarterbacks you're going to beat if you can just stay focused on the passing game. So he needed that running game to beat you, and he didn't get it.
When he broke that 39-yarder, he was going to do that.
Yeah.
Or that 34-yarder. I thought he was going to stick with the run a little more, but
but again,
I guess.
He didn't have enough success in some ways to stick with it. I mean, he did. Melvin Gordon ended up with, I think, 17 carries, and the average was bad.
Yeah, 35
so
yards.
That's crazy. 17 for 35, barely 2 yards a carry. That's not. Well, listen, when you're only averaging 2 yards a carry, I'm gonna be on record as saying 17 is a commitment to the run. Because when I'm not getting any more than 2 yards a carry for 15 times, I don't know how I want to run the ball ever again. So
yeah, it's true.
So I think he tried. He did as much as he could do. But yeah, you're just not going to beat a superior quarterback and a superior carded playoff team if you're not going to get a running game.
And as you can see, I mean, the Chargers don't have a very good run defense, but they're hit or miss. You either get that +2 or you get the short gain. So it's like +2, +3, or short gain. He was finding the +2s. He was finding, and I was finding that 5 on his short pass defensive card probably 4 times. The 5.
Yeah.
So Herbert was getting things that were off Herbert's card, against a pretty good pass D there, including the long gain, no men.
That's right.
But he did leave that deep zone open, and was creeping up, and I was poised to try to take advantage of it. It was swinging and missing in the first half, but sooner or later against those receivers, and I got one on the receiver card too. This team will take advantage of the zero MIZ long pass.
Yeah. So are you a Chargers fan, Anthony?
No, I'm not.
No.
Who are you?
I'm always curious about that with this league. Who actually has teams that they really like? Like, I know Tim is a Chiefs fan. Obviously, he was raised wrong.
I came into this league as Seattle, though. You don't just get gifted the team you want when you walk through the door. So,
Seattle's a pretty good team to have.
Well, yeah, they weren't. I've been in the league long enough that they weren't. It wasn't Russell Wilson that I was playing. Let's just. Well,
you probably had Sean Alexander.
Gosh, I don't think so. I think it was between both of those. Anthony might remember as well as I do, but I'm trying to remember who I was running.
Trying to think about who those teams were back then. Seattle's quarterback. I need Dennis on the line.
Yeah, Dennis would absolutely know.
Well, when did you start?
So I've been with the Chiefs for probably 8 or 9 years, and I think I played 2 to 3 years as Seattle at most, something around that. So.
Oh yeah, so you probably would have been right before Russell Wilson.
Yeah, it was before Russell Wilson. I know I didn't play Russell Wilson. That I would remember, and I don't think I played Sean Alexander. I don't know. I know that if somebody said a name of a running back, I would go, yes, that's who I played. Sure, I would, but I don't think
it was Strong. I think his last name was Strong. I don't know what his first name was.
Well, looky here. Harlan, how are you doing, buddy?
Hey, did Anthony answer the question about who his favorite team is?
Who's your favorite team, man?
I don't have one. Syracuse. Syracuse University. So
have you never really had a team that you claim your own for the NFL? You don't really have a favorite team, literally?
Aren't you in Lions country over there?
I am, but just for the last 5 years.
Well,
that explains why you don't have a team.
That explains why you don't have a football team. Yeah, well, I don't think Detroit has one either.
Yeah, I grew up in Syracuse, which is kind of no man's land. My dad was a Giants fan. Probably should have been a Giants fan, but we weren't. My brother and I weren't. Another brother was. Blah blah blah.
And Harlan, the Cowboys are a team that is the team you
they're
like.
They're my second team. The Packers are my first team.
Oh, that's right. You're Packers first. That's right. Okay.
But I grew up kind of a Cowboys fan in the 70s when the Packers weren't very good, and the Cowboys were able to beat the Vikings on occasion where the Packers couldn't. And my grandfather was from Texas, so
cool.
That's so funny. I'm a Steelers fan because of my grandpa.
Yeah.
Where in the 70s, same thing. I live in Kansas, but my grandfather was a huge Terry Bradshaw fan, and so
he's across town from me. Jason is.
We're in Kansas. Oh, in Wichita.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. We're in Wichita.
Tim, this reminds me. So you grew up near Van Nuys. You were born near Van Nuys, and then you end up in Wichita. Was your dad in aviation or something?
Yeah, my dad was. He was military, and I was born in the Los Angeles area, but I only lived there till I was 2. So that's not what I remember. I've lived in Kansas really from age 2 on, with the exception of college was here in Kansas too. But after college, I went to Denver for a couple years. That's it. Other than that, I've lived in Kansas all my life, really. So always a Chiefs fan for sure.
I lived in Ohio for 5 years, and I tell you that changed my mentality on college football. That's a lot different college football area up there in Ohio.
Yeah, we're in Ohio. That makes a difference.
Youngstown?
Youngstown, okay.
Well, it was actually Austintown, but that whole area is considered Youngstown. So,
well, I'm going to need to get on with my night. I'm hungry. I haven't had dinner, so I'm going to go do that. But Anthony, congratulations on your big win. You're in the playoffs, and I got to tell you, that's a big win because you want to, especially with all the injuries you had in that game and all the injuries you're taking into that matchup against my Chiefs next week. Clinching that playoff spot now on the front side, very big. So huge win for
until
you.
that Guyton touchdown. It was a game all the way. And that 76-yard, I sort of pretended to play small ball for a second, hoping he'd think I'm going to play small ball. And it turned out that's what he thought. And on a 2nd and 6, launched it. And
let me ask you this.
Memo. Pretending to play small ball. Got that. Okay.
I was talking to Tim about this a lot. Do you think that the mismanagement by Denver's time in the end of that first half could have impacted him? Because I was telling Tim, I was like, he could have saved some time, maybe got the ball and got a score.
While you were scoring.
You were getting the ball. Because I was like, he's going to get the ball and he's going to score and it's going to be over.
I mean, if it wasn't for all my freaking holding calls, inside his 40, every time I got in there, the plan was to take a field goal and run down the clock, get rid of his timeouts just because of his kicking weapon. So I just wanted to make sure that he didn't against an average kicker. I probably wouldn't have tried to play it that way. Of course, it completely backfired when he because I had the roughness call on the ensuing possession. So they got it. I kicked the field goal, so somehow made it, and then he got the 36-yard return. I don't know why he returned it. To your point, you probably want to save time there. As a take a touchback. Especially with all those 13, 14, 15, 16, 17-yard returns on that card.
Right.
But then the roughing call came in after that, and before you knew it, he was at the 40, and boom, you're in 2-3 territory. And at that point, I actually thought the Chargers were in pretty big trouble after that.
Well, and see, but you were thinking the same thing I was. You were thinking he was going to burn through his timeouts because he didn't use a single timeout.
Yeah, that's right. He didn't.
He didn't really have to, though. I think you had the penalty going on,
true,
which stopped the clock, and then you had
And for some of that, there you were still, especially after that holding penalty backed you up. At that point, I kind of told Jason that I understand it's 3rd down. He's back at the 30, and I don't know that you want necessarily to call those timeouts at that point. Because if Anthony gets a first down, you don't want to leave him enough time to be very deliberate. What if he throws has a couple plays that doesn't get in the end zone, and now you've given him an extra play? I could see it both ways, especially once you took that holding penalty.
We were at least very close to where those TOs should have been hit, but to Tim's point, we may have not quite reached the cusp.
Yeah,
at that point. But he came down and got that field goal. That was really interesting. And then,
I think he should have scored that touchdown too on that last field goal. I think he should have went for that touchdown.
Yeah, when it cut it to 7, Jason was wanting to go for it. Jason was wanting him to go for it to cut it to 3, and I kind of get it, but it was 4th and goal at the 9.
Wasn't it? 4th and 9.
Yeah, like at the 9.
What happened is what I thought was going to happen. Maybe. I thought he was just going to go on a run.
Yeah. Well, I could see that one both ways as well. I could see it both ways. Well, on one hand, he's pressed his luck on 4th downs a couple times on that drive already. And now you're facing a 4th and 9 with full pass rush coming at you.
And on right with Drew Lock instead of taking the kick from a kicker that is automatic. And
hunting for an INT or whatever you can get on the other side.
Yeah, maybe you try to go ahead and go for that if you're sporting Herbert or Mahomes or some of these Deshaun Watson.
I just feel bad for him. He's the underdog.
Yeah.
Or if you got 3
it
or
was
4
a good game, though. It was very good.
Decide between run or pass, it's different, too, where it's obviously a passing situation.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, exactly. If you're halfway to the goal line and they know that you might call run, that's a different thing altogether. But you're asking Locke of all people to complete a pass on right in clutch that you can't have an incompletion. It's just too much risk reward. I like the call to kick that field goal.
I could see it both ways. I would have been scared S-less to be up 3 in that game, knowing that McManus can nail it from anywhere.
Yeah.
So I was probably relieved that he went for the field goal. And if you want to, have that as your acid test, then use it, But I can certainly understand both ways there.
I think if it was a 13-point lead and a field goal is only cutting it back to 10, that's what one thing. I'm going to go for that touchdown and try to set up the next score to win the game. But getting it down to 7, I'm going to take that. That to me, that's the right call.
Yeah, but see, like he said, he's afraid of that kicker. So I mean, if there's anything he could have done to cut, seriously, if there's anything he could have done to cut it to 3, I mean, like I was asking on the broadcast, is it taking into consideration he's in Denver? Or is it just giving that guy the fact that he can kick a 58-yard field goal? Because if he can kick a 58-yard field goal, you got to be scared if you're down. You only got a 3-point lead.
3, yeah. I mean, if one penalty, you're at 1st and 20. All of a sudden, I'm kicking from my 10. He gets, you get zillions of yards on my return. And I think he did start a couple drives at the 40 because of my special teams. He started drives in field goal range because of McManus and because of my special teams. So.
Yeah, penalties, special teams. There was a lot of weird stuff in that game. I mean, how about that penalty when you had him pinned, gonna have to punt from the end zone, and then you get a penalty that pulls him out. Pulls him out. I was like, oh my god! I was like, that's like the worst possible thing that could have happened on that.
But
play.
Is that not classic Chargers though?
Yes.
Yes. I signed up for that. You know what I mean? It's hard. It's hard to bang the table on that one when that's what the Chargers do.
As Chiefs fans say, Chargers will charger. It's a matter of time. Chargers will charger.
That's like my Roethlisberger throwing a pick.
Hey, I don't know what to tell you. Listen, we all know they've been talented enough to be a winning team for a long time, but they're lucky to get to
Marty
even record. Oh, yeah.
They had Marty Schottenheimer. We know he can't win playoff games.
That's true. That's true.
Well, hey, listen, I'm gonna go ahead and close the broadcast. But hey, good to see you all out here. I love the participation and congratulations again, Anthony. I'm looking forward to our division battle next week.
Looking forward to the game next week.
Should be a good one. Guys, have a good night. All right.
I look forward to watching you guys' playoff games.
That's awesome. Take it easy, man.
See you.
Guys, have a good one.